Hello, today we are solving October 2021 paper, question number 2, part B. Calculate the cost of operating the food and the clothing departments after reapportionment of the administration cost. Now, we had seen that we had calculated previously the total cost for each department. So, okay, let's write from first the total cost of each department. First one is the food. Okay, the food is 200,000. So we have to calculate this. We have to write this 200,000. Okay, 200,000. And for the clothing department the total cost was 72,000. Okay, so 72,000. And for the administration department the total cost was 90,000. Now they are saying we have to reapportion, okay, the cost of administration to food and clothing. Okay, so let's reapportion this cost. 90,000 you will have to reapportion. Okay, 90,000 we will have to remove that, and the reapportion cost will be on the basis of these two. Okay, 90,000. So for this they had given the information like this. Okay, calculate the cost after reapportionment. They have given here some information. The following were the revenue and the cost of sales balances were available for the year ended 30th April 2021. Revenue was this much and the cost of sales was this much. After allocation and apportionment of costs, Worlebury Stores reapportion the cost of administration to the two productive department in proportion to the revenue. So here they have given the information that we have to apportion the cost, this cost based on the revenue. So let's apportion 90,000 in the ratio of this revenue 900,000. Okay, 900,000 divided by 900,000 plus 300,000. Okay, so that value is going to be equal to 67,500. Okay, and similarly this is for the food. Okay, food, and next one is for the clothing. So for the clothing it is going to be equal to the total cost I have to apportion is 90,000 times the revenue for the clothing was 300,000. Okay, it was out of this total revenue which is 900,000 plus 300,000, 900,000, okay, plus 300,000. So that value is going to be equal to 22,500. So now let's write this values. So 67, okay, 67,500, and this will be 22,500. So 22,500. I'm taking these 90,000 and I'm distributing it to the food and clothing department. Now let's calculate the total cost for each department now. Okay, because it has been reapportioned. So this total cost will be 267,500, 267,500, and this one will be 72,000 plus 22,500. It is 94,500. It is 94,500. Okay. Now the next, okay, the next is part C. Calculate the food and clothing, the profit for the year ended 30th April 2021. So we are supposed to calculate the profit for, okay, profit for the food and clothing for these departments. Okay, so the profit is going to be revenue minus, okay, the revenue minus cost of sales. That's going to get us gross profit. Gross profit minus the overhead costs, okay, which the overhead cost which we had calculated, that is going to get us the profit for the year. So now let's calculate. The first one is the revenue. Okay, the revenue is at we can see that it is at 900,000 and 300,000. So they have given the information here. 900,000, and then they have given the information here as 300,000, and then we can see the cost of sales they have given was 600,000. So you subtract the cost of sales. So the cost of sales was 600,000, and the cost of sales for the clothing department was 150,000. So 150,000, and then you have to you find the gross profit. So let's the revenue minus the cost of sales is going to give us gross profit. Okay, so let's calculate this. So the gross profit is going to be around 300,000. Okay, and 300 minus 150, it is 150,000. Okay, then you have to subtract the overhead cost. The overhead cost for the food department was 267,500. Okay, and then for the clothing department it was 94,500. So this for gross profit minus the overhead expenses, it's going to get me the profit for the year. So profit for the year is going to be equal to 300,000 minus 267,500, that is 32,500. Okay, so 32,500, and for the clothing 150 minus 94,500, it is 55,500. Next they are asking, okay, part B here, profit for the year as a percentage of revenue. So the profit for the year as a percentage of revenue formula is profit divided by revenue times 100. So let's calculate it for the food. Okay, for the food it is equal to, we saw the profit was 32,500 divided by the revenue was 900,000. Okay, times 100 times the 100. So that is equal to 3.6 percentage. Okay, and then you have this one 55,500. Okay, so for the clothing department it is 55,500 is a profit. 55,500 divided by its revenue was 300,000. So the revenue was 300,000. Okay, times 100 times 100, that is equal to 18.5 percentage.